India stands at a pivotal juncture, confronting a myriad of challenges that span economic, social, environmental, geopolitical, and technological domains. These challenges are deeply interconnected and require nuanced, strategic responses to ensure sustainable development and stability. 1. Economic challenges. A. Trade dynamics and tariffs. The imposition of a 26% tariff by the United States on Indian imports is projected to reduce India's GDP growth by 20 to 40 basis points in the financial year 2025-26. This development may prompt the Reserve Bank of India to implement additional interest rate cuts to stimulate economic activity. B. Declining household financial savings. India's gross household financial savings have declined to 10.9% of GDP in FY23, down from 11.1% in FY22. Concurrently, household financial liabilities have risen to 5.8% of GDP in FY23 from 3.8% in FY22. This trend indicates increased borrowing, particularly from non-banking financial companies, and a shift towards physical asset investments. The decline in net financial savings may impact the availability of domestic capital for investments, necessitating reliance on external borrowings. And now, to the editor's part. A word of caution first. Do not dismiss it as an old man shouting in the wilderness. You may be tempted to do so because we've heard such warnings before and India has sailed through. But the challenges this time are different. They run deeper and they are more complex. They are also more interconnected. What happens in one area affects the others. So let me list out the challenges. No. 1. Social. Household debt in India has crossed 40% of the GDP. This is as of December 2023, and net financial savings have come down to around 5% of the GDP. What does this mean? That the average Indian household is struggling. It is dipping into its savings to keep itself afloat. And when there is very little left to dip into, it is taking on debt. If this trend continues, it could lead to a financial crisis. Do you know how much household debt there was at the start of the pandemic? Around $23.5 trillion. Now it's $33 trillion. In 2 years, household debt has gone up by $10 trillion. And this after the RBI's efforts to keep credit flowing during the pandemic. Now that's something that policymakers must look into. Challenge no. 2. Environment. India is suffering from extreme weather. More heat waves, more droughts, and this is going to get worse because of climate change. Let me show you some data. Temperatures in May this year were as high as 51 degrees C. In the last 3 decades, temperatures have been around 39 degrees C with climate change. Such severe heat waves are now 100 times more likely. There's also the problem of rising sea levels. By 2050, the sea level could rise by up to a meter. The Sundarban Islands may be submerged. Some experts say that 18 of the 48 Sundarban blocks could be underwater by 2050. What will that mean? It will mean the biggest migration crisis in human history. Perhaps 14 million people may have to leave their homes and move. Where will they go? To what? Cities, perhaps? Well, that's another problem. Challenge number 3. Geopolitics. India is in the middle of a major trade negotiation with the United States. If things go well, American tariffs on Indian exports will be reduced. But that's a big if. If New Delhi retaliates, it could trigger a trade war. And India knows that this is a long game, so it is trying to strike a balance. It wants to secure early deal talks with the US while staying clear of America's China policy. New Delhi has decided to not join the US-led Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. The framework is yet to be unveiled, but reports say it will include trade rules and supply chain cooperation. New Delhi sees it as an unnecessary constraint on its ties with Beijing. At the same time, India is negotiating a separate trade deal with the US. It is aimed at reducing tariffs and creating new jobs. But even this deal is not straightforward. There are differences over market access, labor standards, and digital trade. It's a tough balancing act for India. On the one hand, the Russia-Ukraine war has created a humanitarian crisis, and it's still ongoing. On the other, India has taken a principled stand against the war, and now it is reaping the benefits. India has secured a 3-year deal to supply grains to the United Nations. It is also supplying wheat to Egypt and to Turkey. Plus, India's relationship with West Asia is getting better. Relations with Saudi Arabia are improving, and the Abraham Accords are opening up new possibilities. All of this is good news. But navigating these geopolitical challenges requires a long-term vision and a deep understanding of global politics. Technological challenge number 4. India is ranked 65th in the World Digital Competitiveness Ranking. It is low for a country that aspires to become a global leader. And here's why. We don't invest enough in digital infrastructure, education, and innovation. And this affects our ranking. If India has to reap the benefits of new technologies, it must invest in them. It must focus on research and development, on building digital skills, and on creating digital opportunities. So those are the challenges, and we've just listed them out. You know, sometimes it seems as if doom is always lurking around the corner. But that's the job of a good editor, to tell you what's wrong and to tell you what needs fixing. After all, that's the only way to make progress, isn't it? Look at where we were a few decades back. India was a sick economy with a ballooning population. It was called the world's largest democracy, but it was anything but democratic. Reservation was the norm. Corruption was rampant, and the politics was highly personalized. Today, India has the second largest economy in the world. Its per capita income has grown 8 times in 2 decades. It is home to the largest democracy in the world. Millions of people have been lifted out of poverty. All of this happened because India made the right moves at the right time. So what lies ahead? Challenges? Yes. But India has proved that it can overcome them.